I didn't know a woman had died in that house. I didn't know she had passed away in the bedroom. I definitely didn't know that the pillow I'd been sleeping on was the one she had died on. This happened in 1998, a split level house in Clark County, Kentucky. This is my story. 1998, I was 18 years old. I'd gotten into some trouble. Not paranormal trouble, just life. So I ended up having to move in with my sister. She lived in Clark County, Kentucky. It was supposed to be temporary, just a few weeks. Her house was a split level. You walked in the front door and you were on a small landing. Stairs went up, stairs went down. Upstairs were the bedrooms and the living room and the kitchen. Downstairs was a big finished room, and the rest of it was the basement. At first, it was just a house. Then, she and her husband left for Mexico, and I stayed behind, alone. One afternoon, I came home from work and I walked into my bedroom. There was a bottle of makeup sitting on my dresser. I just kind of stood there staring at it because I didn't recognize it. I didn't put it there, so I thought maybe my sister had come home early. That night, though, she called. They were still in Mexico. Didn't make a big deal out of it, but it didn't feel right. A few days later, my cousin come spent the night. He didn't sleep. He laid there and he had panic attacks most of the night. Restless, on edge. The next morning he left, and he wouldn't come back. At the time, I brushed it off. Another night, a friend came over. Sister didn't allow smoking upstairs, so I went downstairs into the big room. There's a fireplace down there. We shut the door and opened up the flue so we could blow smoke up into the chimney. We were just sitting there talking when something slammed into that door. Hard enough that the picture frame next to it shook. We both jumped. I got up and I opened the door immediately. There's nothing there. No object. Nothing had fallen. No explanation. We both thought the same thing and said the same thing. They must be home. We went upstairs. The house was empty. That night he slept on the couch. The next morning, he told me that he woke up with all the couch cushions piled on top of him. Every one of them. And he said that he heard noises coming from downstairs all night. He left. He never came back. So at this point, a couple weeks have passed. My sister was back home. Things felt normal. Then one night around 3 a.m., I woke up to something beating on the wall over top of my head. Not light tapping. Heavy. Rhythmic. My window was on the second floor. I got up. No one in the room. So I looked outside. No one there. Next morning I told my sister what had happened. She looked at me and she said, "Oh yeah, house is haunted." Just like that, like it was already known. That was the first time the word haunted entered the picture. Fast forward a few months. At this point, I'd moved into the larger room downstairs. Same room where the door had slammed. For a while, things were quiet down there. Then, just out of the blue, things started disappearing. First, it was my glasses. Had to have them to drive, had to have them to read. Couldn't find them. Then, the payment book disappeared. Just gone. I searched everywhere. Months later, they both showed back up in different places. Places I'd already looked thoroughly. You start questioning yourself at that point. Did I miss it? Did I move it and forget? Something about it just felt off. One Friday night, I'm home alone. My sister and her husband had left to visit his daughter about an hour away in Louisville. I was downstairs watching TV when the dogs upstairs started barking, and I heard footsteps. Clear, walking across the upstairs floor, and a bedroom door closed. I muted the TV. Dogs kept barking. Walked upstairs. As soon as I got to the top step, the dogs stopped. I walked towards the bedroom that I'd heard the door close. As I got close, I heard bed springs creaking. Someone had just sat down or laid down. Opened the door. It was my brother-in-law's office. No bed in that room. Just a desk and a computer. Just stood there. Then I went back downstairs and the dogs started barking again. And that's when it hit me. I didn't feel alone. I left. Things had calmed down for a little while. Mostly just some random noises here and there. Then one night my nephew stayed in my room. The downstairs room was big enough to have a couch near the stairs and a bed in the room. He was on the couch and I was in the bed. We were asleep, and loud thuds came from the staircase. Heavy footsteps, slow. From where he was laying, he could see the stairs. I don't know what he saw, but he jumped up and got into my bed, and he froze. He wouldn't move, he wouldn't talk, he was just terrified. One Saturday morning, my sister was washing sheets. She came into my bedroom to grab mine. She pulled the pillowcase off of my pillow, her face changed. She asked me where I'd gotten that pillow. So I told her, the basement. That's when she told me something I didn't know. My brother-in-law had been married once before. His first wife died in that house, from cancer. And that pillow, it was the pillow she had died on. I'd been sleeping on it for months. After that, things changed. Maybe I did. I don't know. Started having panic attacks. Only at night. Only when trying to go to sleep. My heart would race. Feel this overwhelming dread. Something was in the room. Something that didn't want me to live. I eventually moved out. Panic attacks, they followed me for a little while. And slowly, stopped. All this happened to me between the summer of 1998 and early spring of 1999. I never saw anything. I never saw a shadow figure. But I did hear things. I felt things. And I experienced things that I can't fully explain. Was the house haunted? Or did learning about that pillow change how I processed everything? I don't know. What I do know is, fear doesn't always start with what you see. Sometimes it starts with what you learn. This is my story. What's yours?